After 6 weeks of casual dating, I found out he was also seeing someone else who pressured him into exclusivity. What a twist. I will provide a summary to the best of my ability, although it is quite lengthy. I am a 36-year-old female, and I am referring to a 41-year-old male with whom I was dating. I began re-entering the dating scene late last year by using dating applications. After several months, I matched with someone who I started texting and meeting in person. Overall, he is a decent guy, and we are quite compatible, sharing many interests such as metal music, movies, television shows, and comedy. He is also the first person who has shown a genuine interest in exploring kink, e.g., nipple clamps, ropes, sex swings, etc. After our first date, we agreed that we would be casually dating while also seeing other people until we could better understand our feelings towards one another. He mentioned that it takes approximately 90 days to really get to know someone, although that did not imply we had to wait that long to determine if we wanted to be exclusive. He has been focused on self-improvement and is thoughtful about dating. He has conducted a lot of research on relationships, emphasizing the importance of individual interests, so that if a separation occurs, it is less harmful. With that being said, he was respectful, attentive to boundaries, did not engage in love bombing, and I initiated most of our dates. My sister, who is a former police officer, expressed concern when I informed her about my dating life. About 6 weeks into our relationship, she wanted to post about him on a Facebook group called, "Are We Dating the Same Guy?" This group aims to provide a safe space for women to share their experiences and support each other. I communicated that we were casually dating, but she suggested I post to identify any red flags or undesirable traits I should be aware of, as I was not actively searching for information about his dating life since I was already aware he was. The post aimed solely to inquire if there were any warning signs without revealing any personal details, and a woman commented, requesting to private message me. My sister, who made the anonymous post, notified me about the response, prompting me to reach out to her, as it sounded serious. She began explaining that she had been dating him for the past 3 to 4 weeks and expressed her frustration. Although she noted that he had been upfront about dating others from the start, she felt misled after spending time together. I felt sympathy for her, and upon realization that she was not disclosing anything negative about him, e.g., domestic violence, I regretted my response. However, seeing her distress as an empath who enjoys supporting women, I continued to engage. I inquired whether he had indicated they were exclusive, to which she replied no. She asked various questions about our connection, including whether I had slept with him, if he had mentioned me to his family, which he had minimally, if he had discussed a tanning incident involving his father, and if he had informed me about his mother's birthday celebration. I attempted to be honest with her while providing concise answers. I suggested that if she wanted exclusivity in her relationship, she should discuss it with him, as he might be open to it as well. I encouraged her to talk to him, reminding her that he had always seemed truthful and had told her about actively dating during the first encounter. I did not realize it at the time, but I think she may have been trying to manipulate me for information. She mentioned she was wearing his sweatpants, and when I asked if they were gray, I realized they were the same ones he had let me wear. She claimed they laughed together frequently, making me feel as though she was trying to compare our experiences, though I was not in a competitive mindset since I was not prepared to enter a serious relationship with him yet, as I intended to take things slow for a few months, something we both had previously struggled with. She informed me that he had not been messaging her all day and asked whether he had contacted me. I confirmed that he had been in touch throughout the day and evening, explaining that he had told her in the morning that he would be busy with his children, which was why he couldn't respond to her. I continued to communicate with her since she was venting her emotions, thinking I could be a source of support. However, she occasionally seemed unkind and distant, but would assert that we both deserved better. She stated that she planned to call him once his children were asleep. Before her call, she messaged me, inquiring if I had told him I had said no, which made me realize I should have addressed my feelings directly with him first, as I had not yet grasped her intentions. She reiterated that he had not responded to her all day while he had been quick to reply to me. The following day, he barely communicated with me, so I asked her how her conversation went. She responded, "That's between him and me. I wish you luck, but I will no longer participate in this," indicating she wanted to end our discussion. I asked if he was aware that she had spoken to me, to which she replied affirmatively, despite my request for her to keep my name out of it. Consequently, I felt uneasy because of her cold demeanor toward me rather than expressing gratitude for my support. She even recounted her divorce, and I had tried to be understanding of that as well. I sent him a message acknowledging their conversation and expressing curiosity about his feelings. He responded that he wished I had shared my feelings with him, though I was uncertain about his interpretation. He also mentioned his dislike for drama and that many matters could have been avoided. I provided him with a brief summary of the situation, and he expressed appreciation for my perspective. I requested to speak with him later that evening after his children had gone to bed, and he consented. The phone call went well overall. I explained the post and conveyed my sister's concerns. He seemed most troubled by this, and I clarified the motive behind the post, explaining that it was intended to protect me and not meant to highlight any personal information about him. I communicated that, while I did not feel any cause for concern from my interactions with him, I understood my sister's desire to ensure my safety given my past experiences. He appeared to gain comfort from this and appreciated my honesty. I mentioned that I was unsure about what else she might have conveyed to him, but reassured him that I had only engaged in conversation with her out of concern for her feelings. I encouraged her to be open with him and indicated that I might reach out to him later, depending on the outcome of her call. He maintained a calm demeanor, understood that there was no malicious intent, and accepted my apologies for any misunderstandings. He informed me that she had called him and discussed the situation extensively at midnight the previous night. She not only informed him about the Facebook post, but also that she had talked to me, expressing her discontent about his dating life. As he processed this deluge of information, she presented him with an ultimatum to become exclusive. He then indicated he would agree, meaning they were moving into a relationship. I was disappointed because I liked him and appreciated our connection. Our dates had been enjoyable, and he showed thoughtfulness, such as checking in on my son during a health procedure. We continued our discussion, and the only thing he mentioned about her was that she lived just down the street from him. We reside 30 minutes apart and both have kids in school, thus cannot relocate at this time. He complimented me sincerely, acknowledging my sense of humor, and expressed uncertainty about how I felt, reiterating his wish that I had been more open about my emotions. He also remarked that he should have done the same. Once again, he was kind, and I conveyed that we both understood the nature of our casual arrangement and that we were open to seeking long-term relationships if we found someone compatible. I shared an inspiring quote with him: "Beginnings are usually scary, endings are usually sad, but it's what's in the middle that counts." He appreciated it and was curious about its origin, which I shared was from a film I saw long ago. He expressed gratitude for the positivity I brought into our conversations, stating, "That's another thing I admire about you, your positive outlook. I genuinely like that." We concluded our conversation with a mutual desire to remain friends due to our compatibility and shared interests, and he agreed, but noted that he would need to inform the woman he is currently seeing due to our previous intimacy. I respected his decision and appreciated his transparency. We had both acquired tickets to the same metal concert in a few months as well. Later that night, after he had fallen asleep, I texted him, hoping he could forgive me for the situation and expressing that I never intended to create any tension for him. The following morning, he replied, "Good morning, of course I forgive you. There are no hard feelings." This provided me with closure and a sense of relief. I sent him a video link to a new metal song from a band we had never discussed, and he responded that he had just heard it the night before and thought it was great. This made me a bit sad since I didn't know anyone else who would appreciate the band or enjoy the song in the same way. Thus, I am curious about your thoughts on all of this. I am moving forward, and although it was initially challenging to acclimate, I am feeling much better now. I would like to know if you believe this situation leaves the door open for potential future opportunities for us, should we both find ourselves single again. Also, I found it rather troubling that this woman, in her mid-40s, appeared quite insecure and ended up treating me poorly despite my respectful approach toward her. She openly professed her deep feelings for him after only a few encounters over a few weeks. He was actively trying to avoid rushing into anything, and now he seems to be doing just that. Additionally, she made their relationship Facebook official, which seems rather immature for her age. What are your thoughts about the likelihood of their relationship lasting, particularly in light of her behavior and the way their connection began? It strikes me as odd that he was engaging with me throughout the day when he claimed to be busy with his children, which likely fueled her jealousy towards me. Do you think she pressured him into moving quickly into exclusivity, potentially due to his uncertainty about my feelings, which made him hesitant to jeopardize what he had with her? Similarly, he was discussing plans for our next date with me that same day. From this experience, I am learning that talking about feelings might be more beneficial after a month of dating. My initial intent was to have fun and get to know him better. Thank you for any insights you may provide. Story 2. Broke free from a toxic home, found love around a campfire, and realized my true desire to escape society's endless grind. OMG. The reason I departed. I needed to escape, I truly needed to escape. Let us begin from the start. A fractured household, a fractured child, a mother dependent on opiates and alcohol, a father who is rarely present, focused solely on earning money, relying on welfare and supplementary assistance from grandparents. However, the mother misappropriates those funds for her addiction and bears yet another fractured child. Now, let us advance to the middle. The boy, myself, yearns for affection but believes he receives none. The father, still basking in the triumph of abandoning the mother, mistakenly assumes that his absence in raising the two boys is compensated by merely providing food and clothing. He believes that this is sufficient to foster well-adjusted men. Alas, how totally mistaken he is. The conclusion: the father now suffers from a hangover, continuously engaging with unsuitable women in an attempt to replace the long-lost passionate love. Unfortunately, he remains trapped in his patterns because, tragically, both his parents were as damaged as we are. In a more literal sense, my father consistently denies the past as though it never occurred, refusing to accept the reality that I am capable of suffering and experiencing pain. Whenever something unfortunate happens, he often compares his struggles to mine, dismissing my challenges because he believes he faced worse hardships that bear no resemblance to my current situation. I cannot comprehend why he is unable to acknowledge me or my pain. I fail to understand why he cannot accept my individual viewpoints, identities, and philosophies. Reason number 1, I am exhausted from continuously attempting to validate my existence to individuals who refuse to recognize it. Present challenges: according to my father, my sole issue is securing employment. So, let us examine it from that angle. I have been submitting applications for 3 years, starting from the age of 14 when I became legally eligible to work. During that period, I came to understand the true worth of $1. I enjoy manual labor, using my hands to earn money, which I perceive as the best way to accumulate cash. Current challenges segment concluded. The first time I worked, I was not compensated properly. I was denied payment since I supposedly did not perform the task well enough. Despite giving my utmost effort without any prior experience, I had been with my grandfather for much of the summer and was counting on him for guidance. He tended to be a perfectionist and was often impatient, a sentiment echoed by my father's words, not mine. The second opportunity, I worked for a friend of my deceased mother, who I had known throughout my entire life. I spent 2 days removing trees, both large and small, as well as their branches. I carried and dragged them by hand, gathering them into piles. I collaborated with my younger brother, the woman, her brothers, their wives, and the brother's father. After 2 grueling days of hard work, we gathered around a campfire. I had worked alongside them, feeling at ease as I had known them since childhood. I eventually found the right moment to share my feelings. That night, I connected with them more than I had ever done with my own father or most of my family. I learned about their misfortunes, challenges, joys, and youth. I became aware of their principles and philosophies. I had not seen these individuals since I was small, yet in just 3 to 4 hours, I glimpsed their souls. In appreciation, the woman, my mother's friend, offered me $100 for my efforts. After I shared my thoughts, her older brother took me aside and expressed his gratitude. He wished to acknowledge my bravery and respect, subsequently gifting me an additional $100. Every hug and gesture of affection from my parents and most of my relatives, aside from a few, always felt hollow. At that moment around the campfire, I experienced love, acceptance, and care like never before, aside from rare instances with friends. Reason number 2. I am weary of individuals who possess neither knowledge nor concern for my true desires, attempting to dictate my life based on their prejudiced perspectives. What do lost sons do in the absence of a strong father figure? They seek it in other men, whether those influences are positive or negative. I have encountered numerous father figures throughout my life. Most of what I know has come from their guidance. I gleaned additional knowledge from intelligent individuals online, including videos, forums, articles, studies, books, and my personal experiences, learning from my own errors. It appears my father is slowly becoming aware, and nearing 18 years, is trying to reclaim lost time by imparting lessons I learned many years ago. He still thinks that doing the bare minimum is sufficient. It is not. While providing the basics is essential to raising a child, it must also involve teaching critical thinking skills and introducing them to compelling ideas about the world and themselves. I can acknowledge his decision not to abandon me. He could have easily walked away. However, his efforts fall flat because it feels like it's now too little, too late. After nearly 20 years, I hardly know him. Returning abruptly to the topic of employment, I want a job. I enjoy working and earning money. I have been applying for 3 years, and due to circumstances beyond my control, nearly all entry-level positions require experience that I can only obtain through a job. Each application has either been rejected or redirected me elsewhere, perpetuating this cycle for 3 years. When I discuss this with my father, he responds, "Why are you complaining? I work from 4 a.m. to 5 p.m. I could quit right now and be hired immediately." There is no point in defending myself since he rarely listens. Furthermore, it is evident he has been employed since he was 14 or 15 and is nearly 40 years old. Of course, he will find work. He possesses the experience. The relentless cycle of this conversation and numerous other issues has led to heightened stress levels, resulting in severe insomnia, which in turn affects my punctuality at school. My grades remain unaffected. I maintain all A's. When I attempt to explain this, he retorts, "I go to work, even during sleepless nights or after staying up late. You're pathetic." All I can think is that he is financially obligated to work. I am not. Reason number 3, I am weary of the world trying to control me. I am tired of societal expectations, familial expectations, and the expectations I form from those pressures. I do not feel this way as intensely anymore, but every word that leaves his mouth and each day spent here serves as a reminder. I've reached a point of indifference. I once dreamed of creating comics, novels, films, and animations. Now I realize those dreams were mere escapes from the painful reality of my life. This sentiment extends beyond me. It also pertains to contemporary society. I shall refrain from an extensive rant detailing society's flaws and detrimental effects. Instead, I offer examples to summarize my views on the world. Watch, Fight Club, play Dishonored, read or watch. 1984, read Animal Farm, enjoy George Carlin's comedy, view Idiocracy, study human history. I'm fed up with the deception of society. I refuse to participate in the game. I decline to join the rat race. The only way to win is to not partake. While I cannot alter or dismantle the game board, only revolutions can achieve that. Thus, individually, the only way to succeed is to relinquish the illusion of any influence over it. Therefore, I have resolved to learn, practice, and spend my time acquiring survival skills to fully integrate with nature. If any family member discovers this and attempts to reintegrate me into modern society, I promise this: if you seek me out and attempt to drag me back into the contemporary world, I will flee, again and again. I have checked out from society and the modern world. You have lost. You've squandered your entire life attempting to win the game. By choosing to play, you have condemned yourself to perpetual defeat. I have simply chosen to stop playing. For those who may be wondering or are curious, no, I am not contemplating self-harm. No, I will not engage in violent acts at a school or destroy anything. I do not possess a firearm, and even if I did, I have no desire to make my voice heard by the world or society, nor do I want to inflict harm on anyone. Here are my closing thoughts. Escape while you still can. It's all a facade and it's harmful to you.